Good afternoon again. And again, as we've all done, most importantly, thank you to the Board of Directors for nominating Dr. Victor Hugo Stickney and to the trustees who voted for him to be inducted as a Great Westerner. As I was pondering all this and realizing I had two sets of remarks to give, one of those email updates came from an organization that I follow, and it had this quote: "A nation's greatness lies in its possibility of achievement in the present, and nothing helps it more than the consciousness of achievement in the past." This was written by Theodore Roosevelt, and you can find it in his book, American Ideals. And when I saw this quote from the Theodore Roosevelt Center in Dickinson, it was like a gift to me. And it seems so perfect considering what we are celebrating today with all of these inductees. And then where we are, near the site of the soon-to-be open Theodore Roosevelt Presidential Library, and not too far from Roosevelt and Dr. Stickney actually first met. As I, or any of us, look out across the North Dakota from the top of this hill, we're seeing where Dr. Stickney rode on his way to doctor someone in that vast area that he traveled. I can envision him in my mind on his horse galloping through the Badlands and prairies to tend to a family or a cowboy in need. Stickney was described in his biography for the National Cowboy Hall of Fame as having, quote, "one of the richest and most productive lives a man can live. He had achieved distinction in the practice of his profession. He had been a leader in his state and community and public affairs, and had been a founder of a fine college in his native city. He, aided by personal participation and financial assistance to others, the establishment of the livestock industry in the Western Dakotas. And he left a heritage of affectionate memory in the hearts of thousands he had served and with whom he had shared the hardships of pioneer life." Dr. Stickney is now a part of our past, but knowledge of his character and achievements gives us something to exemplify and build on as we live our lives and as we add to the history of our nation. There are so many accounts of Dr. Stickney's devotion, fearlessness, generous soul, and innovative spirit. And so again, this inductee highlights the reason that the North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame is so important. These stories, these legacies are preserved and remembered here. Stickney was one of the first inductees into the National Cowboy Hall of Fame, but being recognized here in North Dakota had eluded him. And convinced that he should be honored here at the North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame, in the heart of where he lived and worked, I took on the role of his advocate. I can't know for sure, but the romantic in me likes to think that these two men I championed, Stickney and Noli, knew each other. I do know they both donated to help cover the costs of the North Dakota exhibit at the Lewis and Clark World Centennial Exhibition in 1905. And so it seems they also understood the importance of history. With all the traveling they did around these parts and the enterprises they were involved in during their last years, how could they not have met? There are so many stories that we can speculate like this on in our minds. Of course, we will never know if any of these are true, but I am grateful for the stories that we do know that are now being preserved here at the Hall of Fame. And so I am delighted and proud that Dr. Stickney is getting this recognition. But this is not my award. While the vase would look great in my family room, I felt it should go somewhere more appropriate. I did research to see if I could find any of Stickney's descendants, a little bit anyway. He had two daughters, Dorothy, who went on to be a famous Broadway actress and never had children, and Marjorie, who did marry a young doctor here, and she had children, but how many is actually unclear. And none of my research netted any results. And neither the National Cowboy Hall of Fame nor Dickinson University has any information either on any of his descendants. However, with me here today is Dr. William Hansard, the outreach coordinator for the Theodore Roosevelt Center at Dickinson State University. And Dr. Hansard will be taking the Vasey Award back to Dickinson. He wanted me to tell you that he is grateful to be here, to note the small but pivotal role Dr. Victor Hugo Stickney played in Roosevelt's life, especially in giving Roosevelt the opportunity to make his first great public speech in 1886 at a July 4th celebration in Dickinson. It was at Stickney's insistence that a reluctant Roosevelt delivered the speech of what he famously declared, "I like big things." He told the crowd he identified as both a Westerner and an Easterner, and both a Westerner and an Easterner, and he laid out his bold vision for America's future. Dr. Stickney and his wife, Maggie Hayes Stickney, were instrumental in the founding and development of Dickinson State University. Stickney Hall was dedicated in their honor in 1921. Dr. Hansard sees Dr. Stickney as a man much like Roosevelt, a gallant hero, a devoted family man, and a dedicated civic leader. Dickinson State University and the Roosevelt Center are pleased to play a part in honoring the legacy of the Cowboy Doctor by displaying his award on the DSU campus. And I would just like for a moment to ask Dr. Hansard to stand and be acknowledged. And once again, thank you very much.